and welcome to another Level 1 Game Development Camp. I'm your instructor, Ryan Tinney. Alright, so in our last video, we made a nice little world for our player to kind of move around in. So now we want to add some game elements. And you're asking, what are game elements? Well, they're the elements that make it a game. So what do those look like? Well, those are boundaries, obstacles, enemies, and yep, collectibles. One of the biggest parts of any game is collecting things. So that's what we're going to make today. We're going to make some collectibles. First, we're going to go over what a trigger collider is. We're going to go over important resource and resource consumption. We're also going to talk a little bit about user interface and scoring. So, any game, you always have a score. All right, so let's go ahead and make our first collectible. We're going to go into our assets folder. We're going to go into images. We're going to go. I'm going to game elements, Gordon. In our game elements, we got all kinds of really cool elements, including coins. Let's drag a coin out there. And there we have it. That's a coin. All right, so what we're going to want to add to this is we want to run into this coin and we're going to pick it up. That's right, Gordon. We're going to need to add a collider to it. So let's go ahead. Let's add a polygon collider because that makes it nice and around our coin. So if we go to hit play, oh, looks like where you just run into the coin. So we don't want that to happen. What we want is we want something, when we run into the coin, something to happen and we pick the coin up. So the way we do that is first we make this coin into a trigger. And what a trigger is when our character crosses the invisible wall that is the collider, it triggers something. And we do that by going over to the collider component on our coin and we click the is trigger button. All right, but that's only the first step because if we have nothing to trigger, nothing will happen. So we're going to add a component to this coin. Let's call it a collect. We're going to look for a component called collectible. All right. It's a nice, easy component. Tells you how many points it's worth and if it's collectible. So if we press play, we should be able to collect it, right? Wrong. We need to set up something on our player in order to collect that. So let's go ahead and select our player. He has all of that. So now I forget what I have to put on him. Resource. All right. Some resource. Don't worry, I'm going to edit this out. How do I collect that? I forgot. No, Gordon, you don't have to point it out to me. Does this just need to be played? so now that the coin has its collectible component, all we need to do is signify that our player will connect it, or will collect it. And the way we do that is we have to tag our player as player. So if we go into player and go to the inspector, we can see up here that there is a tag button. We'll click that on the drop down. If we select player, this will now indicate that whenever a player walks over the collectible, it gets collected. So I will show you that right now. Bing, it is collected. All right. But how do we signify whether or not it was collected? Well, we're going to need a scoreboard. And the way we do that is we need some user interface. And Playground already has an object for that. If we go into the assets and then go to prefabs, we can find this user interface prefab. If we just drag that into our hierarchy, it will add the scoreboard object, which is huge. It's got our health and it's got our score. So now if we press play, you can see in the game mode we got 3 health and score. Now watch what happens when we collect this coin. Boom! Score point! Woo! Awesome. All right. And that is how you make a collectible. And so now that we have this coin, let's go back into our images and game elements. Let's go ahead and save this as a prefab, just like we did with the other ones. So we'll drag it down in here. It makes a copy for us, and now we can put coins all over the place. You can hide them in bushes, maybe make it appear a little bit. You can hide them in the trees. And now if you collect them, boom, boom, see the score, you can see your score getting higher. Bing. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So, as you can see, I won because our user interface has a preset victory count. We can easily change that by going into our user face. And we can see here in the inspector, we have a score to win. So you can change that to any number that you want. So I'm just going to do 10 and leave it at that. All right, now we're going to do something a little bit more advanced with our resources. We're going to make a key and a chest. So, first things first is we're going to make our key. So let's bring out the gold key. Bam, it's out there. Let's add a collider. Let's make it a trigger. And we're going to add a component. And instead of collectible, we're going to do resource. So we're going to add the component resource. It's going to ask us what type of resource is this. And yes, there is coin, so you could do coins in a different way. If you want to make it more of a money resource instead of a score resource, this is how you would do it. But we're going to make a key. So let's go to this drop-down window, find key, and then bam. So now, when we go over to key, it should pick up the key for us. There you go. You can see key is right there. So that's pretty simple. So now, how do we make the key do something for us? Well, let's have it open up a treasure chest. So let's add in a treasure chest. I'm gonna make it slightly bigger just so it looks cool. I'm also gonna put it in the way here so you actually have to unlock it to get through first. The first thing we're gonna add to it, we're gonna add a component. We're going to add a polygon collider. we're not going to make it is trigger because we actually don't want to be able to walk through this because it is a box. We are going to add another component. We're going to add a resource, a consume resource component. So we'll click that. And then here it asks what type of resource you need. Well, we're going to need a key. The amount needed is going to be 1. All right. So once we have that, we're going to add another element. Okay. We're going to back up a little because I did it wrong. All right. Okay. So we have our treasure chest. It has its polygon collector. We're going to add another object to this. We're going to right click it. We're going to go down to create empty. And that makes it a child of the treasure chest. We're going to do this need key. Okay. We're going to add a component to this. We're going to add a box collider. 2D. And this is the one we're going to make trigger. We're going to make it slightly bigger than the chest. Okay. With that, now as a trigger, we're going to add another component. We're going to add a condition area. All right, now what this does is when you walk in there with a key, it's going to do some things. Now we only want this to check for a player, so we're going to check the filter by tag to check for a player. The type of event is going to be enter, so when the player enters the area, and then we're going to add some actions to it. First, we're going to consume resource. What resource are we going to consume? We're going to consume the key. So if we have a key, it'll consume the resource. So let's add another condition. Let's add the destroy action. The destroy action is going to destroy an object. Gold. One last thing that we want to do. Let's say we wanted to make some coin, like make a coin. So we're also going to add in the create object action. And down here, the create object action, we're going to want to do a coin. We want its position to be relative to this object. So we're going to click yes, and 0, 0 means right in the middle. All right, so what we did in our condition area, we're going to check for player to enter. Then we're going to do these actions. We're going to consume a key. We're going to turn off the treasure chest, and then we're going to spawn a coin. Now, when you spawn a coin, you want to grab from the project. You want to do a prefab because you want it to copy an object from outside the game. You don't want to drag from the hierarchy. You want to drag from here. And let's go ahead and test it. All right, so I go up to the chest. Nothing happens. I can't get through. So let's grab the key. We have the key. So now, whoop. Yeah, we opened the chest. Pretty easy. All right. Alright, that's all I have for this video. In this video, we added in some collectible objects, like coins and keys. We added a collider to them, and we made it is trigger. So when we run into it, something happens. We also added in the user interface prefab. That's what keeps track of our score and gives us a win condition. As well as we made a key resource that when we have a treasure chest that has an area condition to consume the key, it will open the treasure chest. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.